stayed there and based out of there. So we lived in his palace for several weeks, yeah, which is pretty cool. And
now, did you get like good souvenirs?
as a military intelligence wise, we kind of assumed that Tikrit would be his last stand. Like we originally assumed it would be Baghdad because that's where he spent most of his time. Now we're thinking, okay, well, Tikrit was his home. That's where he's from. That's where all his family is. That's probably where he's hiding, which he was. And so that's where we're going to meet our heaviest resistance. So the entire 1st Marine Division and SEAL Team 3 Echo Platoon roll up to Tikrit. And the night before, like we get right on the outskirts of the city, and the entire 1st Marine Division is in a single column line for miles, going from the southern tip of Tikrit way the fuck down by Baghdad. As far as you can see,
Single
both directions.
column.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And so we get up to the very front, and there's like this little sewing circle of Humvees parked around each other, and we pull up and, like, hey, have you guys secured the area? Everything's good. Yep. Everything's good. And so we let our guard down. We're like, dude, there's fucking 25,000 of us, and they just swept through the area. We're all good. It's quiet. So like a bunch of fucking idiots, we take our boots off and our helmets with night vision, set it in the vehicle, and like popping out maps on the hood of the cars and, eating MREs and fucking shooting the shit. And in the middle of that, like if you can imagine like just a T intersection basically, and going, paralleling the city, but heading east is this like gravel road. And then there's this little berm and a big thick tree line, and then a bunch of fields behind it. And that tree line was kind of the key thing, is there was this like nest of trees and then another tree line going south. So it's kind of like an L angle, and so we're here, Tikrit's here, here's the L angle. And so this is all field, like trees, and then it kind of disperses and gets to fields. In that little clump of trees was a group of insurgents that had a little fucking nest. They had a bunch of AKs and ammo. They had like a little fucking kitchen station set up. They had RPGs. They had this Technical, a truck with a fucking anti-artillery or anti-aircraft artillery piece, and the bed of the truck was full of shells. And so as we're fucking, hey, in the morning we're going to take this, blah, we're dirt diving tomorrow morning's assault on Tikrit, and all of a sudden, dude, just all hell breaks loose, and we get fucking ambushed. And so, of course, our first thing is like, dude, we got to get our shit back on. Like, I'm fucking barefoot. So I'm throwing my fucking boots on, getting all my shit on, my body armor, you name it. We get all of our shit on relatively quick, and then we get into this like lazy L-shaped ambush facing where we're taking rounds from. And of course, we didn't know this at the time, but what had happened is 2 Marines went, the buddy system, like, hey, one guy's got a shit, so take a buddy with you. He goes out into this field and stumbles upon this group of fucking dudes that were literally dirt diving. Like they're in the dirt, drawing a fucking plan with slung AKs, getting ready to ambush us. Thank God those dudes walked out there and stumbled upon them before they did it, or else it probably would have gone way worse.
Turkey shoot, yeah.
But so they're like, what the fuck? And so they just stand up and zipper these guys. So they're all shot to fuck running our direction. And then so that initiated. So they started it from that and just started opening up. And so we're here. Tree line is here. They're shooting at us like this. Well, this column of fucking Marines realizes that there's insurgents here. So what do they start doing? They start shooting that way. And so now we're getting ambushed by a group of insurgents, and the blue on blue overspray from not 25,000, but a column of fucking LARs and LAVs is shooting our directions. They start shooting AT-4 rockets. One of the rockets hit that truck filled with rounds, and these are big fucking anti-aircraft rounds. So an 84 millimeter rocket hits that truck, it blows up, and all of these rounds are blowing up sympathetically, like intermittently. And so, again, not knowing that the truck was even there, like we're thinking, dude, like how many fucking guys are there? There's just these, feels like artillery going off all around. And I remember when I was sitting in the front seat trying to get my shit on, a round, technically didn't graze me, but it was within an inch of hitting me in the fucking head. It hit the right by the steering wheel, and I took a picture of it. I may have it still somewhere, but yeah, you can see this big fucking hole in the dash right by where my head was, getting my helmet on. And then whatever. But so while we're in this L-shaped ambush, we're trying,
Whatever.
we're trying to make comms with the Marines and finally say like, hey, you know, we're on night vision, you're not. Like we can see dudes in ski mask, trench coats, like squatting down with AKs, like they're trying to dissolve back into the thing because now it's kind of gotten away from them. And so we see this dude, we shoot him, he disappears. We move through and kind of go through that whole nest target-wise, whatever, and see how kind of intricate. I mean, not that it was super elaborate, but it was like, how the fuck did you get, these guys were like 30 yards away and you missed them. But anyway, so finally clear through that. We get them to stop shooting. All of the sympathetic detonation rounds finally finish going off. We sweep through the target, get everything under control. All of our guys are good. The two dudes that got shot, I don't know what ended up happening to them. They medevaced out, and one of our corpsmen, Glenn, who was one of the guys that died in Benghazi, who was a good friend of mine, he was our corpsman on that deployment. He patched those dudes up, and then they sent them packing. And I don't know if they survived or not, but
wow, that's just like, because you said you were sitting there literally like with the maps open, just chilling.
Mean, total dick in our hand, like oblivious. I mean, that's our mistake. Like we should have never declined our posture to that degree. We just shouldn't have, or should have swept the area. But you know, when we pull up and we're like, hey, there's 30,000 of you, you know, like is the immediate area cool? Yep. Okay. I'm going to take your word for it on that, you know? So,
lesson learned there.
Yeah. So then it was like, okay, it's 2:30 at 6, we're rolling, get some sleep, you know, and everybody's like, fuck you, you know, so we crawl under a fucking Humvee in a sleeping bag and try to sleep. And, then, as soon as the sun's coming up, we get up and do this, I'll say flawless. I mean, it like the execution that the entire 1st Marine Division and we did taking over Tikrit was pretty fucking flawless.
How'd it go down?
I mean, it was basically a swarming of an entire city. I don't know if it says what the population of Tikrit is, but it's not a small fucking spot.
Right, 160,000?
Yeah.
Okay. So how many, like, because we always have this too, like, everyone could be a potential enemy from your seat, but like Saddam's, how much of it was like guarded by Saddam's army versus just insurgents from all over the place? Like what was the mix up there?
At that point, it was pretty much all insurgents. You know, if you put yourself kind of in their shoes, you know, by that point, like most of their country had been completely fucking steamrolled in a few weeks. And so all of the actual uniformed military fighters, I mean, most of them were pretty much fucking in civilian clothes and running around as insurgents, or they were somewhere else, you know. But so it was a mixed bag. But you know, in terms of identifiable uniform, there's very little. Now, our plan was that you know each Marine entity kind of had its own area of responsibility, and they were like, okay, Saddam's palace is, if he's there, that's probably where he's at. It's the highest point in the city in terms of vantage point and observation wise. Comm suite setup. That's where we're going to set our leadership up. SEAL Team 3, you guys go take the palace down. So we like fucking banked around and hauled ass, like maneuvering through all the shit, kind of like we had been doing, like just blew through, like didn't clear our way there. We just fucking blew all the way through.
Bullets flying?
A little bit. I mean, again, it was like, you know, like
just a Tuesday.
Well, I mean, if you think about an entire Marine Division, like how slow that takes place, the footprint, the presence, the sound, the sight, that's very obvious what's taking place. And so there, you know, one of our biggest tools of the trade is is violence of action, element of surprise, you know, slow as smooth, smooth as fast. Like it's going really quick doing things. And so that was kind of the methodology and the thought process, which usually works, is that you get to wherever you're going so fast that they don't even have fucking time to respond. Now, if you're moving 25,000 people, like they're going to respond, they're going to set up, they're going to ambush, they're going to do all kinds of shit. So we just hauled ass straight to the palace and kicked the door in.
Was the palace literally in the middle of town or far end? Like how far do you have to go from first entering to Crete?
So if you can pull it up on the map, I don't know how much you can zoom in.
Let's zoom in onto Crete, see what we can do.
All right, so you see right where the river is there.
Yep.
So his palace was on the eastern bank of the Tigris.
So that right there?
Yep. That's it right there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, let's see if we can pull this bad boy up. See what we're looking at.
It's crazy. I mean, it's like it was opulent of like biblical proportion. Like,
was there anyone in there when you went in?
Not. I mean, by the time we got in, no, everybody had completely bailed out. So.
Oh, so there was security around it though.
So yeah, you can see how big it is. It's fucking enormous. And that building to the right is the maids' quarters, the service quarters.
Nice.
And yeah, so we took the whole thing down.
Leslie's about to take a job over there.
Yeah.
Shit.
Took several hours to do it, and.
So you get there, they have security around the perimeter. Like, is that his army?
No, I mean, like I said, we got in as soon as we got there. Everybody just fucking ghost towned and like completely fucking ran away from us. Now,
but it still took a couple hours
to take the whole thing down. Yeah, just because of its size, because like
clearing.
Yeah, I mean, like looking back on it, yeah, they all ran. I mean, you don't know that at the time. Like, you don't know if they're all one in the next room or the next room. So you're doing everything very methodically, very surgical and slow and quiet, and so it took a while, but yeah, so we took it down and then stayed there and based out of there. So we lived in his palace for several weeks, yeah, which is pretty cool. And
now, did you get like good souvenirs from there, or?
I will just say, if I did, I certainly wouldn't share that.
Okay, all right. So it's sitting on the Ritland mantle at home.
Yeah. Maybe not, but yeah. So
there's probably a rich Russian oligarch who owns it off like an eBay fucking.
Yeah, how to get caught 101. Sell fucking war prizes on eBay. So it was cool. I mean, it was as you can imagine. It's a fucking palace of an Arab dictator. So it's like.
What did it look like? Like, what did it?
I mean, it was obnoxious. Like, it was so over the top, it was hard to even believe. Like, even in the ceiling, there were murals in hand painted, hand laid, like quarter-inch. I mean, imagine ceramic tiles that are hand painted, and they're quarter-inch by quarter-inch. They're fucking tiny. Now, imagine making murals. I mean, over the entire fucking ceiling of the whole palace, it was all murals made out of quarter-inch tiles. So it was just, and that was just like one element. And then there's crystal chandeliers, like the fucking soap dishes were gold, like marble everywhere, fucking gold and brass and crystal everywhere. I mean, like the whole thing. And it was that fucking big, so it's like, I can't even, I mean, I don't even think you could put a price tag on it because a lot of that shit is priceless. Like, I mean, there's Nazi relics, there's, imported Italian marble, crystal from the fucking, Chinese empires that are 3,000 years old. I mean, it was like a fucking museum, and now you got 16 Vikings fucking jerking off in the bathrooms and leaving double-decker dumps and toilets and totally fucking the place up. Totally just violating the entire fucking place.
Anyone taking pictures of double-decker in the toilets?
I don't think so.
I feel like that's not Abu Ghraib. People would respect that one.
Maybe.
They'd be like, all right, we're double-decker in Saddam's little fucking golden toilet.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.